How's it going, class? My name is Steven, and this is my persuasive essay. Let me start with the question. What's everybody's favorite superhero? Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Hulk? Mine's Superman. For my presentation today, what would you say if I could offer you the opportunity to become a superhero, just for the day, or maybe even the year, or your entire life? How, you may ask? By making life-changing decisions that save our species and everything on our planet. That question brings me to my thesis and the reason for my speech to you guys today. The reason for my speech today is global warming and its effect on humans, animals, and everything we live with. What is the issue? We are the biggest contributing factor of CO2 emissions, and the main cause of global warming in our world is us. Why is this issue important, you may ask? Raising temperatures on our planet create changing ecosystems for us and the animals we share this world with. Why is there a need to listen to me? I can offer you a conclusion after my presentation 6 simple ways you can save our planet. There are 5 major effects us humans have on the planet, as well as our main sources of food that directly affect us and every living thing. Number 1, fossil fuel burning. Number 2, meat consumption. Number 3, agriculture. Number 4, deforestation. And number 5 is waste. I will explain all 5 major effects of these have on our planet for you to understand the severity of the problem. Here are some facts and stats to help persuade you and show you the damaging that we have on our planet. Number 1, burning fossil fuels. Fossil fuels like coal, oil, natural gas, and gasoline are the largest pollutants of carbon emissions. When fossil fuels burn and mix with the heat, they create smog and air pollutant, which is highly toxic to us and animals. Meat consumption. The massive amount of poop created by livestock farms emit toxic gases such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane. Methane is 23 times more effective at trapping CO2 in our air, and 80% of the emissions come from animal waste. 56 billion animals are for our food purposes. That's 8 times more than the human population. That's 8 times more emissions being added to our atmosphere every year. Number 3 is agriculture. Land used for growing animal feed and raising animals for food used 30% of the Earth's landmass in 2006, and the food production has only increased since then. 7 football fields of land are bulldozed every minute to make room for farmed animals and the crops that to feed them. Number 4, deforestation. Bulldozing land and deforesting not only emits greenhouse gases, but it gets rid of plants, trees, and forests, the major helpers on our planet for absorbing CO2 from our atmosphere. And number 5 is waste. Solid waste landfills are some of the largest pollutants of methane gas in the United States. The average person produces 4.3 pounds of trash per day. That's 1,569 pounds per year. With the 7.4 billion people on Earth, that's 11.6 trillion pounds of trash each year, as humans have produced 40 billion tons of CO2 this last year. Over the course of thousands of years, our climate goes through a natural climate change of CO2 being absorbed and released into our atmosphere. But once the Industrial Revolution kicked in 1950, burning fossil fuels became the necessary of manufacturing and production of plants, and the CO2 level shot up violently and have not slowed down since. If we do not reduce our carbon emissions drastically, our Earth will be stripped of its natural resources, toxic and uninhabitable within a few generations. Why should you care, you may ask? Well, the Earth's temperature has rose 1.5 degrees over the past century and is projected to rise another 5.5 to 8.6 degrees over the next 100 years, which is really hot. This has major effects on not only us, but the innocent animals that are affected by our choices. Animals and plant life are struggling to adapt to these changes. For example, since the oceans are getting warmer, it is causing the polar ice caps to melt, which is 65% of polar ice caps began melting in 1979. The Earth loses 400 billion tons of ice each year, which raises sea levels and creates more natural disasters for us as well as animals, such as hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, heat waves, and droughts. This is what we have to do. By making simple alterations to our everyday lives Each person can reduce 1 ton of carbon emissions to the planet, which brings up my thesis. How can you become a superhero? Here are some simple ways we must take to save our Earth. Instead of burning fossil fuels, we must convert to renewable energy such as solar or wind power, which emits zero carbon and has an infinite supply. How can you help right now? How can you change global warming and its effects on humans, animals, and every living thing in our world? As well as change my 5 main points. Number 1, fossil burning. Number 2, meat consumption. 3, agriculture. 4, deforestation. And 5, waste. Here are some ways you can be heroes. Number 1, switch from gas-powered vehicles to electric. One person can reduce 1 ton of carbon emissions just by driving an electric car. Walk or bike and use public transportation systems. Use energy-efficient light bulbs. Changing out LEDs is very effective. Turn off electronics after you're done using them to save energy. And eat less meat or eat no meat at all and become a vegetarian, which saves up to 1.5 tons of CO2 being emitted from us. If we can all make these small changes to our everyday lives, we can all be superheroes and save our planet. Although we are the problem, we can also be the solution. I would like to end my essay with a quote from Chief Seattle. We belong to Earth. The Earth does not belong to us. Thank you.